You know, just when you think you've seen the dumbest thing ever, they come out with something worse, something stupider. And here it is. OpenAI launches age prediction for teen safety. First of all, what's the safety issue? I mean, I've used ChatGPT, you probably have too. Did it do anything dangerous? Well, there have been some incidents where people, engaged in self-harm, even a few suicides, and these were allegedly linked to ChatGPT. Now, I've looked into these cases, and I got to be honest, what was happening there was clearly somebody who was in trouble to begin with. There were issues that may have been reinforced by ChatGPT, but didn't originate in it. And, efforts are always being made to make these things better and safer. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, if you go in there in bad shape, it can reinforce bad things. And this doesn't stop at age 18 or anything. But the next question is, if they think it is so important to restrict people under the age of 18, how exactly do you know who's under the age of 18? And that's the problem, because free tiers don't require credit cards, and it may be anonymous. So how do you deal with that? Well, what they are trying to do is use the chat itself, the words, the cadence. If you're talking about Pokemon, you must be young. If you're asking about retirement, you must be old. Right? Oh, it's so stupid. So stupid. There's debate about whether or not it will be effective. Of course it won't. People can code switch easily. It's basically asking the stupidest question in the world. Does this person seem to talk like an adult? When I was 14, I could have code switched and mimicked my parents easily. You could have too. Anybody could have. And then you have adults who, maybe are talking in a sort of simplistic way. Maybe the system thinks they're 17, but they're actually 19. So stupid. So stupid. I mean, think back to being a teenager. Think back to being a teenager. Was there anything that kept you out of stuff? Parental controls on the cable box, or a password on the computer, or a lock on the liquor cabinet. If you wanted in, you were in, right? If you were a teenager, come on. Let's not be stupid here. Teenagers are smart. They can get through it. A teenager can sound like a 40-year-old if they want to. So what happens when it declares that you're young? You're underage because, I don't know, it thinks you're talking too much about cartoons or something? Well, it apparently puts some restrictions and limits, but it doesn't really say a whole lot. I'm assuming it kind of tones down or... So stupid. So stupid. Now, they don't go into a whole lot of detail as to what the restrictions are, but one of the clear problems is that there's obviously the false positive for being underage, right? Like maybe you're 20, but you kind of talk like you're 16. Not uncommon. In that case, I guess apparently you have to put in a credit card then to clear your name so you can use the full feature ChatGPT. So stupid. I also want to ask, if we're gonna say that AI is a vital part of the economy and of future jobs and everything, should we really be restricting young people from actually getting to know how to use it? I'll tell you, I have a young niece and nephew, and I'm an expert in AI safety, in security, in risk. And I wouldn't have a problem with them using chatbots. I really wouldn't. I'd, give them some instruction ahead of time. It's not really your friend. It's a machine. Make sure you understand that. But no, I see no danger at all. Zero. So, yeah, what it really is its optics. It's just the fact that there were these high-profile cases. And it's terrible that these young people committed suicide, but I've looked into all of these cases, and in all the cases, what was really happening was that the chatbot was kind of reinforcing things that they already said, mirroring them back, which we know large language models can do. And they've been better fine-tuned to avoid harmfulness, but really, it is a case where you have to be, savvy, and you can't be protected from the world on everything. Even 16-year-olds, they have to face bullies and bad situations and stuff, and most of them can. And that's why this is so stupid. Because it will never, ever work. Anybody who wants to get past it will, because of course they will. Teenagers are smart. It's probably going to end up causing problems and restrictions on plenty of false positives on adults. And in the end, what are we really protecting them from? What are we really protecting them from? Yeah, chatbots can say weird things. I'm sure I could have dealt with that when I was 15. I'm sure I could have dealt with that when I was 12. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Above all else, we all know it can't work. You can't effectively tell someone's name by the words they use. Come on. Let's not be stupid here.